headlines tonight about how a man convicted of felony criminal sexual conduct was hired for not one, but 2 jobs with the state of Minnesota.
What is going on with these governors? So imagine this. You've been assaulted, right? SA'd. Your attacker gets convicted, but years later, you find out that the same man was hired into a top position in your state's government. And today we're going to be talking about something that should never, ever happen. Minnesota's governor, Tim Walz, the head honcho, the top dog in Minnesota, his administration hired a man who was convicted of sexual assault to a high-ranking position in the government. And no, this is not a conspiracy theory. I'm not making this up. This is not clickbait. This is real, public record, and is disturbing on every single level.
He eventually was convicted of 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct. He was ordered to spend 200 days in the Hannibal County workhouse. Despite his criminal history, he was able to first land a job at the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency in 2018.
So let's talk about this individual by the name of Wilson Tindy. Back in 2016, Tindy wasn't just facing some sort of rumor or accusation. He was convicted of sexual assaulting a woman in her own home. This was not a misunderstanding at a party, nothing like that. This wasn't anything other than this man broke into a home and sexually assaulted someone while she was sleeping. And you know what? He admitted to the crime. It wasn't a long courtroom drama. He confessed. He took a plea deal to dodge a harsher sentence. If that was pursued fully, could have put him away in prison for a very, very long time.
He was accused of burglary and sexual assault after breaking into an apartment, and a victim, quote, felt someone pull her underwear down. The criminal complaint goes on to say the victim observed a male party standing over her. The suspect fled the scene, but a fingerprint recovered from the woman's apartment led police to Tindy.
So what happens after that? You'll think maybe he'll disappear, go off the grid, keep a low profile, maybe just put himself away from society, spend some time reflecting. Nope. Instead, this man lands a gig inside of Minnesota's Department of Education. Not just any gig, a role with authority, a role with access.
He was ordered to spend 200 days in the Hannibal County workhouse. Despite his criminal history, he was able to first land a job at the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency in 2018, and just this past April moved to the Minnesota Department of Education.
I mean, let's really think about this. A convicted sex offender ends up working in the same department that oversees children's education. Let that marinate for a second, because this is not some clerical job tucked away in a corner of the DMV. This is a leadership role in the department that sets policies for kids, for schools. It's like putting a fox in charge of the hen house and then acting surprised when the feathers start flying around. This isn't just some whoopsie-doo weird oversight. This is the kind of screw up that makes you question how many other men like Wilson are out there slipping through the cracks because people in charge either don't care or worse, they're not even checking. Tindy was quietly hired, not as some intern or mailroom guy, but as an internal auditor. That's someone that handles the money trail, who has access to very sensitive reports and can poke around in departments. This convicted sex offender wasn't just let in through the back door, he was promoted.
A statement from MDE confirms he's no longer employed there as of June 27th. Wilson Tindy is not a current employee at MDE, the statement says. He was a probationary employee in an internal role at MDE for approximately 2.5 months. He did not interact with students, visit schools, or have access to private student data. Nobody can answer if he ever underwent a criminal background check.
He wasn't just brought in, he was moving up in the administration. That means someone in the hiring pipeline, someone with authority, looked at this man's resume, saw no red flags, even though there's probably more flags waving around like the 4th of July. But this guy said, you know what? Let's give this guy even more access, a little bit more power, maybe even a bigger office. What the hell is going on in Minnesota? Is this some sort of prank? Like, did HR skip the background check because it was a Friday afternoon and they just wanted to go home early? How is this happening? How is this possible? This man was trusted more and more over time. This implies that there was a performance review. That implied meetings. That implied someone writing, "Great job, Wilson, let's elevate you." And you're telling me that no one noticed? Or if this is the real terrifying part, they didn't notice, they just didn't care. Minnesota didn't just hire someone with a sketchy past, they hired someone with a violent past and handed him a seat at the table inside of the Department of Education. You expect a convicted sex offender to have a very hard time finding employment at any place, a gas station, let alone in the government building where decisions are made about kids in classrooms.
In 2009, the legislature passed a law known as Ban the Box, which eliminated a checkbox question on an application asking job applicants if they have a criminal record. State agencies can but are not required to do a background check until the person is granted an interview or offered a job.
So let's talk about Governor Tim Walz. He is no rookie. He has been in the office since 2019, a former congressman. He tried to make some national moves as well. He tried to become vice president. That didn't work out. But you'll think a guy like this would know how to run the system, how to run a state. So to me, it's about leadership. Who are you hiring, and are they doing everything they're supposed to be doing to make sure that everyone there is on the up and up?
Now, despite those efforts, we haven't been able to find out whether Tindy ever went through a criminal background check. There are certain occupations where a criminal background check is required under Minnesota law, including teachers, school bus drivers, and apartment managers.
Background checks are important. I mean, Google exists. Facebook exists. You're telling me no one typed this man's name in a search engine? Or maybe they did and they just didn't care. Which one is worse? I don't know what's going on with these governors in this country. I mean, in my neck of the woods, Governor Kathleen Hochul, what the hell is happening over there? She had a whole DEI director on payroll who was allegedly running a $44 million fraud operation. And this woman had links to China. Basically, she was a spy. She was promoted. You can't make any of this up. Maybe I should change my channel until you can't make this up. The warning signs, they weren't subtle. They were loud and waving like a dude at an airport runway. Yet somehow she still landed a top job in the state government. So here we are again asking the same question. What is going on with these governors? Is anyone actually doing background checks anymore? Or are they just out there hiring people like it's open mic at a comedy club with no standards, no filters, just vibes? There's clearly a problem with bad vetting, questionable hires, and flat out neglect. And it always seems like it's happening at the top, where decisions matter the most and mistakes hurt the public the hardest. People with sexual assault convictions or foreign agent ties are able to get into our higher levels of government, and we're putting these people in charge of our schools, our money, and our kids, then we're washed. We're cooked. Game over. It's not just tone deaf, it is extremely dangerous. Wilson worked in education. I'm a parent. I'm sure you're watching this, you may be a parent. And you find out that someone like him is auditing your kid's school district from the inside. It's crazy. It's a failure of leadership. But let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. And I'll see you guys in the next video.